There will be a lot of conflict here because requirements will compete, and the project manager has to resolve those back and forth the team. And often the team will say, we cannot do this, right? That is because we don't have the technology, we don't have the resources. Then you go back to the stakeholder and convince them, or get the new funding to get the new product, new item, or sourcing through the vendor. You come up with a requirements documentation, which is, hey, this is what we need. This is the list of requirements with their goals, level of performance, how we will work on this requirement, how we will support this requirement later on when it goes in operations. And what are the assumptions and constraints we are making? Because every time we do something, we are always making some assumptions and constraints, right? We have some constraints and we have some assumptions. So it's very important that most of the documents have these assumptions and constraints. The thing is that the stakeholders don't like this, but that's a fact of life. Now, the question is, hey, what are the different types of requirements? It could be a business requirement from a business side, it could be a technical requirement, it could be a stakeholder requirement, it could be a transition requirement when you move from one thing to the other, it could be a quality requirement or specification, it could be a project requirement. So it can be any form of requirement. But at the end of the day, they have to make a business sense. They have to provide a business value. Right? Technical requirements in itself does not, in the safe world, they call it part of the architecture runway, right? So the architect is on the software side, but not on the business side. Business architect, who is that? Tell me, Karun, do you have a business architect in your team?
No, there is no designation like that.
They should have one, right? Because the business architect is the guy who has the business knowledge of the whole system solution we are building.
Yeah, we call it as product owner.
But the thing is, the product owner is very specific to the project. Product owner at the program level, product owner at the portfolio level. Right?
True.
Will you still call him a product owner?
It's each company has a way to, even the architect, right? Within NetApp, we have 3 types of architect. We have a solution architect, we have a domain architect, and an enterprise architect. On the business side, I don't like to call them product owner because they are not product owners. There's an engineering team that is actually developing the product. But since IT is interacting with business, we call them product owners. So, it's not the literal meaning of Sam.
No, I agree with you, but my point is that there has to be somebody from the business side who has a fair understanding.
Correct.
Whether it's at solution level or enterprise level. Enterprise level flows into the solution level, and solution level flows into the domain level.
Domain level, correct.
So there has to be a continuous flow.
Right.
There is, but it's not very well articulated sometimes.
Right.
The fact that companies are working and they're successful and they build billions of dollars of business means they're doing something right? I could not even reach 100 million, 10 million. Yeah. So a lot of it is about scalability.
Right.
2 things I learned in my 15 years of entrepreneurship: sustainability and scalability. I was only stuck on the first piece, sustainability. If you want to really build a big business, create a sustainability model in first 1 or 2 or 3 years. That's it. The next model is to scale it, like
expand it.
2-3 years. So if you want to build $1 billion business, small businesses are also fine. But there are only 500 Fortune 500 companies in America. There are 37 million small businesses. Do you also know like 70% of the jobs in America are small businesses? Only 10-20% is Fortune 500.
Right.
So you get the requirements, you also get a traceability matrix as to how you're going to trace that requirement from the business side to the design side, to the development side, to the testing side. What's the status? If it is done, it's green in the matrix. If it is working on, yellow. If it is blocked, red, because there is some issue. So this is how a traceability matrix looks like. So you will see testing, design, development, deliverable, business, and then ID of each requirement, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And within each requirement, the activity levels of each requirement, 1.2, 1.3.
How does this correlate to the BRD, Dr. Sam?
So BRD is a list of documents, right? Definition of the requirement. This is the tracing of the requirement as to we got this, but where is it now? You can have it in the same BRD also, not a problem. But as long as you can track it, right? Trace it.
Okay.
Because we got this requirement, but nobody worked on it.
Okay.
Oh, the development team, we worked on it, but what happened? Oh, I don't know. You don't know. Nobody knows. Oh, what happened? Company money was spent.
So how is there a way to link BRD to the requirement traceability metrics?
Yeah. I mean, there is software, right? There's a lot of software in the traceability matrix space. I think Microsoft Project, if you use, has that. Even Jira, which is very popular nowadays, they traces the requirement. I mean, they don't use the word traceability matrix, but you can trace the requirement. The whole idea is that if you don't document it, then how do you track it?
Right.
Right. And if you track it, then how do you know what percentage was done and what was not done? The notion is that create a set of requirements and then design a system, because right now we're in the planning, right? So we're designing a system once the team is onboarded and starts working on where it is.
Right.
We know that requirement number 2.1.1 is right now in the development. However, 3.2, they've not yet started because they will only start because once this is finished. So that's the idea.
Okay.
So we define the scope, friends, and as specifically as possible. So you look at charter, which is the vision approval for funding. You look at the scope plan because you already created a high level scope plan. Now you have the documents. And you look at what assets you have from the previous projects and what are the environmental roadblocks or support factors. And then you, as a project manager, you are an expert, or you go to an expert and get data, analyze the data, make a decision. Then go and talk to your team and facilitate the process, analyze the existing product if you have any, and then go up and create a scope statement, which is very specific to the project. Because based on the specific scope statement, you will create deliverables, and you need a work breakdown structure of activities. So we define the scope, the boundaries, what is to be done, what is not to be done, in scope, out of scope, and create a scope statement. A lot of the techniques you will see are the same. So you should have a sense of it, but you are not required to know all of them, right, friends? Have an idea. That one chart that I gave you is the most important. And then tools and techniques, output, input, you don't have to memorize them or know each one of them. Have a sense of it. What do we get? Scope statement. As detailed as possible, because there is a challenge, because when you say as detailed, it should be like 100 pages, which nobody reads and understands, like a BRD. And that's why Agile became popular, because nobody likes reading. Karun, who's put in 16 years in the top American company, says, I don't like reading, I like listening. Something similar to Monica says from Google, right? So look, these are the top companies of America. These are like $1 trillion companies.
I need to move out of NetApp. When I hear that 16 years, I feel so old.
But I'm guessing you must be at a director level, no?
No. I didn't go to the management. I still as an architect.
Yeah, a lot of people don't do that because they know the moment they become a director, they will be fired
Yeah, I don't want to get away from technical, Dr.
because
Sam.
at the top, things are very fast.
Yeah.
Failure is responsible. But if you are an architect or you're a developer, your hills, of course, you don't get so much money, but you still make very good money. And then
Yeah.
you wife who does this the strategy not to become a director. Am I right?
Exactly. And there is no convincing game, right? You get what you are being asked to do. All the things will be, there is no negotiation required. When it comes into the architect, you already have a requirement. You just
Yeah.
need to work on the technology, get the architecture done, work with the team and get it delivered.
Yeah.
Um,